Essay number 23. Everything is here to help you. How intrinsically motivated people become the best versions of themselves. I'm about to tell you something that will either completely transform how you experience life or make you roll your eyes so hard you strain something. Ready? Everything that happens to you, every rejection, every failure, every loss, every moment of pain is here to help you. I know how that sounds. Like toxic positivity. Like the kind of thing people say when they've never experienced real suffering. Like privilege dressed up as wisdom. But stay with me, because this isn't about pretending everything is fine. This is about the single most important choice you'll ever make about how you experience being alive. Right now, whether you realize it or not, you have a fundamental belief about what life is, and that belief is controlling everything. How you interpret events, how you respond to challenges, how much suffering you experience, how much joy you allow yourself to feel. Everything. So let me ask you something. What do you think the point of your life is? Not in some abstract philosophical way. I mean, practically, day to day, what do you think is happening here? Are you a victim of random events, just trying to survive whatever the universe throws at you? Or are you someone who's being given opportunities to grow, to expand, to become something more? This isn't a small question. This is the question. Because your answer determines whether you experience life as something that happens to you or something that happens for you. Let's get specific. When something difficult happens, you lose your job, someone breaks your heart, you fail at something important, what's your immediate interpretation? Do you think, why is this happening to me? Or do you think, what is this here to teach me? When you feel uncomfortable emotions, anxiety, sadness, anger, do you see them as suffering you have to endure? Or do you see them as signals trying to tell you something important? When the world triggers you, upsets you, disturbs you, do you see it as the world doing something to you? Or do you see your reaction as information about what's going on inside you? These aren't just different perspectives, they're different universes, and you get to choose which one you live in. Here's what's wild. When we believe there's a purpose for our pain, the pain changes. It doesn't disappear, let's not be naive, but it transforms from meaningless suffering into meaningful growth. The discomfort is still there, but the suffering dissolves. The experience shifts from an annoyance to an opportunity. This is the difference between intrinsic and extrinsic motivation, and it's everything. Extrinsically motivated people believe their experience is created by external forces. Things happen to them. They're at the mercy of circumstances, other people, luck, fate, whatever you want to call it. They're constantly reacting to a world that's acting upon them. Intrinsically motivated people believe they create their experience through their interpretation of what happens. Things happen, period. Then they decide what those things mean. They're not at the mercy of anything because they're the ones creating the meaning. Now here's where it gets interesting. Society desperately wants you to be extrinsically motivated. The entire system depends on it. Capitalism runs on it. Political power maintains itself through it. Consumer culture thrives on it. Why? Because when you believe you're a victim of external circumstances, you forfeit your power. You look outside yourself for solutions. You buy things to feel better. You follow leaders who promise to save you. You wait for conditions to change instead of changing yourself. You funnel all your energy into other people's ideas, dreams, and products instead of your own growth. Think about how you've been trained since childhood. Good grades get you rewards. Bad behavior gets you punished. Success is measured by external achievements. Worth is determined by what others think of you. We're literally programmed from birth to give our power away, to look outside ourselves for validation, meaning, and direction. But what if that's all backwards? What if the people who create genuinely happy lives, not perfect lives, but meaningful ones, are the ones who figured out how to flip the script? Let me be clear about something. I'm not saying everything happens for a reason. I'm not saying the universe has some grand plan where your suffering is perfectly orchestrated for your growth. That's magical thinking, and it's not helpful. What I'm saying is that you can choose to use everything that happens as a reason to grow. There's a massive difference. We don't know if there's some higher purpose to our obstacles. We never will. That's not the point. The point is that people who act as if there is, people who treat every challenge as an opportunity, every setback as a setup for something better, every loss as a chance to discover what really matters, these people consistently create better lives for themselves. Not easier lives, better lives. Lives with more meaning, more resilience, more genuine satisfaction. Because here's the truth nobody wants to hear. Unbearable suffering awaits us all. Look at history. Look at the present. Look at the fundamental nature of existence. Loss is guaranteed. Pain is certain. Death is non-negotiable. Not one of us is promised a happy life. So we have a choice. We can spend our lives as victims of this reality, suffering twice, once from the pain itself and once from our resistance to it. Or we can decide that everything, even the worst things, especially the worst things, are here to help us become who we're meant to be. This isn't about being positive. It's not about being grateful for trauma. It's not about pretending bad things are good. It's about recognizing that you're going to suffer either way, so you might as well suffer towards something instead of suffering for nothing. When you lose someone you love, you can suffer the loss and stay stuck in it forever. Or you can suffer the loss and let it teach you about the depth of your ability to love, the preciousness of time, the importance of presence. When you fail at something important, you can suffer the failure and let it confirm your worst beliefs about yourself, or you can suffer the failure and let it show you what you're made of, what you need to learn, who you're becoming. When you face rejection, betrayal, disappointment, you can suffer these experiences and become bitter, closed, afraid, or you can suffer them and become wise, discerning, compassionate. The suffering is the same. The outcome is completely different. People who believe everything is here to help them aren't delusional. They're strategic. They've figured out that since they can't control what happens, they might as well control what they make it mean. Since they can't avoid pain, they might as well use it. Since they can't guarantee outcomes, they might as well focus on growth. This is what intrinsic motivation really means. It's not about being self-driven or internally focused. It's about recognizing that you are the creator of your experience, not through what happens to you, but through what you do with what happens to you. When you're intrinsically motivated, you stop waiting for the world to make you happy. You stop expecting other people to validate you. You stop needing conditions to be perfect before you can thrive. You stop giving your power to everything outside yourself and start cultivating it within. You start asking different questions. Instead of why me, you ask what now. Instead of this shouldn't be happening, you think this is happening, so how can I use it? Instead of this is unfair, you recognize fair doesn't exist, but growth does. This shift changes everything, and I mean everything. Your relationships change because you stop expecting other people to complete you and start seeing them as opportunities to practice love. Your work changes because you stop doing it for approval and start doing it for mastery. Your problems change because they stop being obstacles and start being teachers. But here's the catch. You have to choose this. Nobody can convince you. No amount of evidence will be enough if you're committed to being a victim. And there's something seductive about victimhood. It absolves you of responsibility. If everything is happening to you, then nothing is your fault. If you're at the mercy of circumstances, then you don't have to do the hard work of growth. Being intrinsically motivated, believing everything is here to help you, that's taking ultimate responsibility. It's saying, I may not have chosen what happened, but I choose what happens next. It's acknowledging that while you can't control events, you have total control over their meaning in your life. This is the most liberating thing you can do, and also the most demanding. Because once you accept this responsibility, you can't blame anyone or anything for your experience anymore. Your parents, your ex, your boss, the economy, society, they might have influenced your circumstances, but they don't control your experience. You do. Some people will read this and think it's victim blaming. It's not. Terrible things happen to people through no fault of their own. Systemic oppression is real. Trauma is real. Injustice is real. This isn't about denying any of that. This is about recognizing that even within the most limiting circumstances, even facing the most legitimate obstacles, you still have a choice about what you make it mean. Viktor Frankl discovered this in a concentration camp. Nelson Mandela discovered it in prison. Every person who has transformed suffering into strength has discovered this same truth. You will either sit in discomfort for the rest of your life, letting it fester and grow and define you, or you will use that discomfort as fuel for growth, as information for change, as motivation for becoming who you're capable of being. Look around. It's very clear who does what. The people who are stuck, bitter, constantly complaining, they're the ones who believe life is happening to them. The people who are growing, evolving, finding meaning even in difficulty, they're the ones who believe life is happening for them. This isn't about optimism. It's about optimization. It's about recognizing that since you're going to have experiences anyway, you might as well use them. Since you're going to feel pain anyway, you might as well let it teach you something. Since you're going to face challenges anyway, you might as well let them make you stronger. The alternative is spending your entire life at the mercy of whatever happens, feeling like a victim of circumstances, waiting for things to get better, hoping someone or something will save you. And maybe that will happen, but probably not. What's more likely is that you'll reach the end of your life and realize you spent all your time waiting for it to begin. You'll see that while you were focused on everything that was happening to you, you missed the opportunity to create what could happen through you. Everything is here to help you. Not because it's true in some cosmic sense, but because believing it's true makes it true. When you look for the lesson, you find it. When you seek the growth opportunity, it appears. When you assume there's something to gain, you gain something. This is the choice, victim or creator, extrinsic or intrinsic, happening to you or happening for you. Choose carefully. Your entire experience of being alive depends on it.